Bam, we're live. All right. It's a good one today. Welcome. Everything squared away. All right. Welcome, folks. Welcome. I'm going to talk a little bit about estimating. You got any questions? You want to jump in the chat at any time? You are welcome to do so. All right. Here we go. So feel free to comment in the chat at any time, and we will get started. We're talking about sales and remodeling. All right. So welcome. Here we go. Something that I've come across over the last few years is what I call a sales engine. And what ends up happening is the more you go out and do the same thing, you start recognizing that certain things, when put in conjunction and done the same way over and over again, they work better than if you do it a different way, right? So let's look at it this way. When you don't have any confidence, there's only so much that motivation can do. And a homeowner has to have confidence in us. We have to have confidence in our abilities to do the project. So if we have the confidence that we can do the project, and then the homeowner is not so sure they want to sign up with us to do the project, we have to understand where's the confidence breakdown, right? Because the homeowner is not feeling safe. And you have to understand, is it because we can't do the job? Is there something about us that's shady? Do we just not understand how to communicate well? What's the real situation? So just remember this. If you're a remodeler, you don't necessarily lose jobs because you're too expensive. You're losing jobs because there isn't enough trust. And the homeowner doesn't have certainty, right? People want nice things. People don't want crap. They don't want the cheapest, okay? And it's that uncertainty that ends up killing. Hey, Alaska and Lola, it's been some time. Welcome. Happy 2026 to you. Good to have you here. All right. Feel free to, if you have any questions, you want to say hi, welcome. All right. So if you're noticing that homeowners are slow to respond, if they're stalling, if you keep hearing like, hey, we're just going to think about it, we're going to get a few other quotes, we love you, you're great, but we need to think about it. We need to talk. We need to pray on it. Then now you understand that it's not really that you have a pricing problem. You've got a little bit of a conveyance of confidence problem. Yeah, it's just sales abilities. Hey there, contractor Damon, welcome. All right. And confidence isn't something that you hope happens, right? I talk about how a lot of guys have a hopium addiction. I'm just hoping this is going to work out. I hope they do this. I hope they do that. And hope isn't a plan. It's not a strategy. Yeah. So welcome back, contractor Damon. Good to see you. Hopefully, from the other night, sounded like things are going a little better for you. So I'm just talking a little bit about sales. You got any questions? Please ask away in the chat. All right. So confidence is something you build on over time. That's how we get confident in something, because we can do it. It's no big deal. It's second nature to us, right? And then hope goes away when we have that confidence. And now we have something that we build on purpose. We have a process because it's repeatable. We have a sequence, right? We have a framework. We follow these steps, we do these things, and boom, it all plays out. So that's what helps us get our first sales process. Because believe it or not, All of us have a process for our sales. Some of us just have a good one and it's intentional. Others, we're just haphazard and it's poor. Okay. So, again, we're talking about building a complete system. Think of it this way: when you show up at a job site, if you're a framer, any framer that I know who's any good, they have their tools usually in their vehicle set up a certain way, okay, organized to their liking. Their tool belt is organized to their liking. A left-handed framer is going to have the hammer over here, right-handed framer over there, right? One guy wants to put his tape measure here, another one does it there. Most framers are carrying things like a carpenter's pencil, chalk box, some hand nails, right? A rack of nails for the gun, speed square, right? Tape measure, chalk box, things like that. And all these tools are part of their system. Like, this is how I frame a wall. Most framers lay it out every time the same. You either go left to right or you go right to left. Okay. A sales process is the same thing. You build this process over time. It should be the same as how you show up to frame a wall. All your sales tools, your briefcase, your laptop, iPad, the questions that you ask, the way you maneuver through the home, how you uncover all the things that you want the homeowner to speak to you about. It's all part of a strategy. You're playing chess, right? It's a sales game. You're asking strategic questions because you want to uncover certain answers in a certain structure. Okay. And the reason this is important is homeowners don't purchase remodeling service like they buy big screen TVs. Okay. There's a lot more emotion that gets tied into a remodel. Typically, the contractor showing up at the homeowner's house, the homeowner has all these dreams and feelings and fears and anxieties, and it's a big, typically, it's a large investment. They're not used to usually writing checks for $50,000. You might be used to collecting $50,000 checks all day long. The average homeowner is not. And there's anxiety that they're experiencing and stress. So they have to feel very comfortable before they're going to hand over to you, the better part of some of their life savings in most situations. All right. Contractor Damon, I appreciate all the loves or likes and the hearts. Thank you so much for that. All right. A home remodel is typically causes a homeowner stress because it's upending their normal life. Most people come to their home at night. It's their sanctuary. It's where they unwind. It's where they can be their real self, right? They don't have to put on a fake face. They're not at their job. They're not around other people in the neighborhood. They can just be who they are. And when you're there remodeling, they can't. So now they come home and they're stressed because they can't really, like, let's just call it what it is. Some people are abusive, and when they come home, they like to kick the dog, and they can't do that when you're there, okay? Because then you'll judge them. So it puts them on edge. And if you're remodeling their kitchen, their bathroom, their bedroom, now all kinds of stuff is messed up because they've lost their daily routine. And all of that, the invasiveness, the expense of it, the mess, the dust, the people coming in and out of the house, it's all full of unknowns. And if there's anything you know about the average human, they don't deal well with unknowns. They want to have certainty. They want to live in a nice, safe world. Everything's black and white, good and bad. They don't like that sea of gray, which remodeling brings up for the average homeowner. All right, so you're following me on that. So understand that homeowners just aren't purchasing the materials. They're buying a full experience from you, right? They're buying certainty, clarity, control, and they're looking for a guide, someone who they can put their trust in and go, Contractor Damon's our man. He's going to get us from point A to point B. We can trust him that if we let him tear apart our house, he'll put it back together better than it ever was before. And if they don't have that faith in you, then you're up against a rock and a hard place. Okay, so you have to intentionally provide all that to the homeowner because they're going to go with the person who does. And homeowners don't always pick the cheapest. They only pick the cheapest when they don't know any better and when they think that they're outsmarting the system. And what I find in general, educated people tend to make the worst decisions. If somebody has like a master's degree, they tend to think because they got educated at school and because you're a contractor and you're not as educated in the academic sense as them, that they'll outsmart you. And they typically are the ones that end up in the most lawsuits. They have the biggest problems because they don't have remodeling smarts. They only have school smarts, and that doesn't carry over typically. So give them some grace and understand that the homeowner's trying to do the best thing, but they often have no clue what they're doing. They don't know how to purchase remodeling, but they want to think they're smart. And again, if they've gone to college and if they've gone and gotten master's degrees or PhDs or doctorates, they think that they have a certain air about them. Like, I'm educated. I understand what I'm doing. You, Mr. Contractor, aren't educated like me. I'm going to outsmart you. And that's why they're the ones that end up in the most lawsuits with projects that fall apart. You, on the other hand, are going to be smart when you're meeting with homeowners like that, and you're going to recognize, oh, they just don't trust me. I have to help them build trust with me. And then you'll be able to charge more money. Is that Jay Allen? Welcome. Good to see you here. We're just talking about some sales strategy. So good to have you. All right. So I'm going to walk you through a couple parts of this sales engine that I've been talking about. All right. And understand, I'm going to keep it at a little bit of a high level right now, just so you can grasp the overall process. So the first thing we always have to do when homeowners call us out of the blue, we don't know what their real expectation is. And we need to ask a couple questions over the phone so that we can get some clarity on what they think. Because homeowners don't know the difference between a good plumber and a bad plumber when they're just dialing randomly or Googling randomly online. To them, the only difference that they tend to think is in terms of price. And we need to be able to weed through the confusion that the average homeowner has. We do our services every day. We're experts at it. The homeowner only has to call a contractor occasionally, a couple times in their life typically. They don't know what they're doing. And yet they don't want to act like they don't know what they're doing. So they want to come across as if they know what they're doing. And we all know how that generally goes. When someone's trying to act as if they know better, they're going to make a ton of mistakes. So just be prepared for that. Know that ahead of time. And that's why we ask certain questions over the phone so that we can get a sense for what they know, what they don't know. And also we get an understanding for what is it that they don't know that they don't even know without making them look stupid. Okay. So understand, let's see, what are some other good things I can pull out here? Be cautious about jumping to a free estimate. I would recommend you discuss ballparking ranges over the phone just to feel the homeowner out. Make sure that you guys are playing the same game, okay? Try to find people that are decisive. Ask them questions like, hey, are you guys opposed to us scheduling this immediately if we can solve the problem? You don't want lots of back and forths. You want to position say, what is it that you need to do or know from me so that you're prepared and ready to move forward with scheduling us so that we can come out and make that repair and get this project started. And when you ask, this is a little bit of a trick. If I ask you, hey, would you like to schedule this? It's very easy for the person to say no. If you change the language and say, are you opposed to scheduling this now? Or would you be against scheduling this today? Or then they can say no, but yet that works for you because it's a yes. And some of you'll have to hear that again. You want to find ways to ask questions that when the homeowner can say no, which is the default language that they want to use when they're talking to someone about purchasing a service, it's easy to say no. We want to ask questions that a no answer benefits us. So again, we would say something like, hey, Mr. and Ms. Smith, would you be opposed to us going ahead and booking this service call at the end of this phone call? No, I can do that. Perfect. You see, it's going to be very easy for them to say no. Practice that and you'll be shocked at how easy. You can do this with your spouse too. You can ask a spouse, would you be opposed to us doing this tomorrow? Or would you be opposed to me maybe doing this? Whereas if you ask for permission, hey, I'd like to go do this, a lot of times the spouse is going to say, no, you're not. Jayon, you probably already know this trick. I'm sure you've. And the other thing is, over time, a spouse might pick up on the fact that you're doing it that way, and it may lessen the effectiveness. All right. Um, let's see. Let me get back on track here. So, again, we all, thanks. We all only have me, you, wherever you are in the country, we both have 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, 52 weeks in a year. So if you want to do more this year than you did last year, you have to think of your strategy. Well, wait a minute, I only could do X last year. So how am I going to do XX this year? In my opinion, one of the smartest things you can do is start filtering who you do work for, how you do the work, right? Try to speed the process up. How do we get the client to hire us quicker? And how do we make sure that we're working for better clients? Because better clients will refer us to other better clients typically, right? So we want to make sure that we're working through that process always. It's always on our mind. How do we maximize every minute that we're working? Okay, then that way we can work less minutes because our minutes are more effective. All right. When somebody calls up and they're talking to you, and you can call them out, you can say, hey, did you guys just call me to get a price? No, we're like real curious. Okay, what is it that you're curious about? Are you curious about how quickly I could get out there to solve the issue? Well, no, we're really just curious about this. Like, sometimes you have to call the client out over the phone, but you can do it in a polite way. And for me, what I've found really works, whoever's answering your phones or handling these initial client intakes or calls, they should practice smiling whenever they're speaking. So much so that maybe in the beginning they put a mirror up in the office, and they just look in the mirror and they make sure they're always smiling. Because when you talk with a smile, the homeowner can pick up on that, and generally they feel more comfortable talking to someone who's smiling at them, even though it's through the phone. It's crazy, but it works. And what I want to say to that is, when you're smiling and your intention is good, you can get away with asking very direct questions to get the truth, because a lot of homeowners are going to waste your time, and they are just shopping, or they are price checking. And that's okay that they're doing it. We just want to get rid of those people, or at least call it out for what it is as quick as possible so we can have a real conversation with the right people. All right. So again, that's a little strategy. As you do it more frequently, you'll get better at it, and you'll get to a point where the homeowner just starts answering questions that you're shocked that the level of transparency that you can start building with clients, even people you've only been on the phone with for like 5 minutes, because people can feel your intention over the phone. So, all right. And what ends up happening is the way that you're showing up often also affects the way the person you're talking to is showing up. I don't know if any of you have ever been out in public and you see two people arguing, and all of a sudden a third person comes into the conversation with a calmer disposition or maybe some good skills or empathy, and all of a sudden that person can diffuse the situation, and all of a sudden they get a totally different reaction, right? That is because people pick up on your energy, your presence, how you're positioning, and they can tell where you're like coming from. So remember this, when you're talking over the phone, it all conveys. If you're having a really bad day and somebody just cut you off in traffic or pissed you off, or an employee did something stupid, whatever, before you answer a call and start talking to the homeowner, take a minute and like shake that off, kind of like how a dog does, get rid of that that negative feeling before you talk to a homeowner. You always want to talk to the homeowners and prospects in a good space where you're at least pleasant as best you can be. All right. Any questions? Anybody have anything they want to talk about or ask? I've seen a couple people come and go. Welcome. I think I just hit the wrong button. All right. Goat, is that you? I can't tell if that's him or not. Maybe it is. There he is. Haven't seen you for a while. Welcome back. Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I'm just talking about some sales. If you have anything you want to ask about, anybody has anything they want to discuss, just pop it in here. Yeah, yeah. Happy New Year to everybody. I know. Jan, we haven't seen the goat for a little while. Oh, you were the YouTube guy. All right, that's cool. Very good. All right. So I want to talk about a little trick that I learned a few years ago, and it's been really effective, and it's around pricing. And so you guys are all familiar with the ballpark price and how the safest thing to do. Okay, good, good goat. Yeah, yeah. There's if you're looking at the if you go through my last 100-day AI series, let me show you something here. This is important. Give me a second. I got some papers here. All right. All right. So go just understand these are the 6 pillars to running a successful company, especially around remodeling. I took those and broke them down into 100 days. And that last series I did where I went live for that 100-day challenge, I talk about one concept every day in there. Okay. So, I mean, that is the secret behind having a successful business. It's all there. It takes 100, you can get through it in 100 days. So, anyway, that was the purpose of doing that. Okay. I took these concepts and ran through them. All right. So, let's get into this reverse anchor thing because this is beautiful. This works amazingly. And understand that I know when I talk about psychology, there's some people that are like, that's hogwash. And you can think what you want, but it's not. And let me tell you why. There are huge corporations that spend millions upon billions of dollars a year studying consumer behavior. And they track all of this over time. Okay. And it's been happening since the beginning of time. I'll give you examples. If you want to understand why you brush your teeth, the guy that invented the concept of mouthwash and toothpaste, he found out that if he told people when they rubbed their tongue across their teeth, if they felt a film in the morning, that they have to get rid of that. And the product that he was selling at the time wasn't even originally designed for it. A company asked him to come up with some sort of a concept that could trigger people so that they would start using like Listerine and brushing their teeth. If you can research this and you will see the power of psychology, they learned how to tap into a person's fear and emotion to get them to start doing something that no one had ever done prior. There you go. Yeah. So Justin, you're on to what I'm talking about. There is real psychology, the way that we are wired naturally. Okay. So let me land this plane here. We need to talk in terms of ballparks when we're initially meeting with homeowners. They have anxiety. They don't know if they can afford it. They don't know what we're going to charge. They're scared that if they tell us, hey, I've got 50 grand to invest in this kitchen, that you're going to take all 50 grand and only give them a $20,000 job. So there's this cat and mouse game that is happening behind the scenes. Now, it's challenging for us as the remodeler because if I don't get some sense for what the homeowner can afford or wants to spend, how am I supposed to build a proper estimate when it could be a huge variable? right? So that's the problem we run into. We only can figure out what to build sometimes when they explain to us what they want to invest. They don't want to explain to us what they want to invest. So because they're so what ends up happening is we have to break the ice, talk about the elephant in the room. And the way we do that is we give them a range. So like Justin, for that entertainment center, the homeowner, you say to them, well, Mr. and Miss Smith, I've built some other entertainment centers, and from what you're telling me, if it's like this and like that, it's probably going to be between, and then the first number you give them is the high one. It's probably going to be between like 15,000 at the high end with a bunch of bells and whistles, and maybe 5,000 on the low end if we just do something real basic and simple, not much customization. Then we pause, look at their facial expressions, see what kind of body language, and then say, is that in line with what you were thinking? Or ask them something, where in that range were you thinking of falling? Or, okay, now, the reason that we start with the high number is because there's something called, I call it a set point or anchor. Homeowners are very good at remembering the first number you give them. And if you've been in this business long enough and you've ever given somebody a price range and you stated it the other way and you said, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that entertainment center is going to be between 5,000 and 15. 3 weeks later, when you come back at 7,500, they're going to go, I thought you said 5,000. They will always remember the first number almost by default. Okay. So that's why we throw the higher number out first. We want them to always remember 15 so that when we actually then settle on the project, most likely we can work it out to where it's just a little bit less, and then they feel like they got a deal. Okay. So that's what I call the reverse anchor. You're flipping it on them and starting high. Now all your competition is going to do it the other way. They're going to say it's between 7 and 12,000, right? Because that's the way most people speak by default. It makes sense. But again, you have to play with psychology here and you reverse it. All right. Now, the first few times you do this, you might be nervous, and that's okay. Whenever we're doing something new, it takes practice and time. Think about it this way. If any of you guys have kids or nieces or nephews, have you ever watched a baby when they're crawling and they first try to walk? Everybody thinks it's cute. They want to help them. Nobody's sitting there telling that baby, you're silly, you're stupid. What makes you think you can walk? You've never walked before. You don't know how to walk. But what happens is the baby develops the muscles, right, of being able to walk by trying to walk. So it doesn't know how to do what it's trying to do. The way it learns how to do it and get strong enough doing it is attempting to do it. I say that because sales is the same concept and it works the same way. Just because you don't know how to do it now and you haven't done it before, and you most likely aren't going to be successful the next couple times you do it, isn't the reason why you don't do it. You, in fact, have to do it to build up the strength, the muscle memory, make the connections, get outside of your own comfort zone so that you eventually do build up the strength to be able to communicate in a way that's more effective. All right, that's a lot of things to say. You can do this. Just trust the process. It works. So I know that's a lot to say here at like midnight. At least it's midnight my time. So remember, the reverse anchor, it's a reality check first. You're mopping it up. Well, thanks, Jan. At least somebody's picking up what's being put down. So the reason we throw out the ballpark is we need to give the homeowner a reality check. If that homeowner just spent the whole last weekend watching HGTV and they have design on a dime in their mind, and they're seeing how all these people said it was $5,000 to rip out this kitchen and put in a new one. And it's baloney, but the homeowner doesn't know. And we have to find a polite way to bring the homeowner from fantasy land where they're living to reality world, which we deal in, right? We have to be the ones to be the burden. We have to break them the bad news. So that's why we start with the ballpark, the price range, the high price first. And then we talk with them and get a better understanding for what it is they really want. And once they understand that there is a low price, a basic option, they can breathe. And as long as that base price is something that in their mind is reasonable, they will add on to it, right? Because just like you, when you go to the store, if you've ever bought something nice, typically when you go there in your mind, you're like, I'm only going to spend $500 on this thing. You get to the store and you find out that $500 only gets you the basic thing, none of the options. And you're sitting there going, well, this sucks. I want like that thing that does that thing as well. I want the bells. I want the whistles. And you walk out spending $900, right? But in your mind, you went to the store and you're only going to spend 500. But the reality was 500 wasn't going to get you what you wanted. The same thing happens in remodeling. We just have to be strategic about the way we guide the homeowner through how we give them all the pricing so that they feel like they're buying. And this is a key thing to think about. Nobody wants to be sold, right? Like if you walk into the store and the staff person says, can I help you, sir? You're like, no, I don't need any help. But clearly you need help. You went there to get something and the person totally could help you, but you don't want to be sold. You don't want to be pressured. But we love to buy. And the way I can prove this to you is just look at the average American. We live in a consumer society. Like people buy things. There are people that go shopping every day for retail therapy. Look at the amount of credit card debt. And I mean, people spend money. People like to buy. They don't want to be sold. So if you want more success as selling remodeling services, you help the homeowner buy from you. You don't. There you go, Justin. Yeah, I mean, these guys, the people that have these TikTok shops, say that 3 times fast. I mean, they're crushing it. But yes, retail therapy is a real thing. Now, there are also homeowners who get their emotional feelings, or I don't know what they get an emotional release through remodeling their house because they're uncomfortable with the way the house is and they have to have it better. And you want to allow them to buy from you. You don't want to be selling it. So that's why that's why we give price ranges and we give good, better, best like options, right? You give them 3 stages. Now, Justin, you had a really good thing you talked about the other day, where you said a high roller package, right? You related it back to your business, and that's awesome. So keep doing things like that. It makes a difference. Homeowners are used to buying packages and they're like, no, I want the middle one or I want the high end one, right? They just need to know that you have options for it. Then they feel like they can buy it as opposed to you ramming it down their throat. It's being sold to them. All right. All right. So I think that's pretty good for tonight. I know that was a lot of stuff. Yes, price conditioning. Jay Allen, my man, you know these things. Yes, 100%. Yeah. You're priming them, getting them ready, and it helps. And everybody needs it, you know. It's not the homeowner's fault that they don't know, but us getting angry at them and upset and bitter and frustrated and walking away because we lost another deal doesn't help anyone. If we lose a deal, it's because, damn, I didn't understand how to properly do the things that I should have done to help the situation, right? Help the homeowner feel better. Yeah, it's only fair. Yes, your job is to teach them 100%. We should be the guide, right? We're like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, I do this every day. I get it. You're not used to doing it. You probably have a lot of questions. There's probably some concerns. You don't want to be taken advantage, right? I'm here to help you. Here's what it is. And let me help you figure it out, right? I can educate you some, and then you tell me what you want to do. I'm not forcing you to do it this way. So all good things. Mm, no. It really does. You know what's funny, Jayon? Like, so you do a lot of service work, and you have your price book. And sometimes I would offer this to you just as a thought. Sometimes the price book can hurt you as much as it helps you. And what I'm saying is, sometimes when you're talking to a homeowner, you might be able to charge something completely different than what's in your price book because they're completely comfortable paying for it. And you don't know that until you have a conversation with a person. I think that price books are excellent because it lets me know what my bare minimum is. Like, I have to at least get this, but it doesn't mean that I can't possibly do more, you know? So, and I think there's a real art to the way that you do that. For me in remodeling, what I try to do is I try to find something that the homeowner wants done that's a little outside the box or something custom. And I do it on purpose because then I can associate more value to this custom thing. And it's one way, and I'll give you an example. Like, let's say a homeowner wants a 10 by 12 deck, right? They can call up like 13 contractors tomorrow and get a 10 by 12 deck price over the phone. Nobody even has to go out and see it. And all of a sudden, I'm going to be pigeonholed that they're going to be like, well, we talked to 7 other people and they were all $8,000 for that deck. But if I can talk to them about building a medallion, a cut in, or doing a picture frame border, or building a privacy wall with a bench seat and maybe a bump out over here for their grill, all of a sudden I've got like 3 other custom things that the other people most likely aren't going to. So now I can charge $12,000 for the deck. Does that make sense? Like, because they want these extra things that nobody else is doing, these custom little features. They're still getting the deck, right? But it's that little personalization. So supersize it. That's right. Who else? What else is going on? Anybody have any other exciting projects coming up, or so Goat? I would encourage you. Yes, Jayon, the you know, when you put just living the dream. I mean, I've seen your backyard. You really are living the dream. You have like you're at a vacation resort whenever you're at home. So that's pretty awesome. Uh, Goat, I would tell you yes. For you, if I'm in your position where it's me and maybe a helper on site every day, you need someone answering your phone. However you look into do that, whether it's a virtual person, you get in touch with an answering service. Um, yeah, you need someone to answer the phone during the day. That is, and 24 hours a day, in my opinion. Yeah, yeah, no. So, yep. I think go what you. This is what it was for me. Once I started having my phone ring consistently during the day, that's when I recognized we needed an answering service. And this is just my opinion. So I had my spouse working with me after, I don't know, probably within like 6 months to a year of getting into the business. So she started picking up a lot of that phone service. I would only give people the office number. I wouldn't give out my cell phone number. And but what we started doing, we noticed was as long as she answered the phone, we got more business. If we let the answering machine take it, right, we got a lot of hangups. So that's when we switched to 24/7, always a live person. And even if you just go with an answering service, you'll notice a big difference. People want to talk to a live person when they're calling. So, and older, things change in the universe, and it's something that's interesting right now. The younger generation, people that are in their 30s, they're actually scared to talk on the phone. Most of them text, or they want to interact with your bot on your website. Okay. But my age group, people my parents' age, in my opinion, the people that have the money to do the remodeling because they're farther along in their career, so they have money and they want nice things, those people tend to still want to call and talk to a live person. They don't want to do all the fancy things on the computer as much. Some do, but quite a few people. I know my parents have recently hired someone to replace a front door. They called. They picked up the phone and called the person. They didn't want to do it online. Yes. Yeah. And Jayon, that's a really good point. Even like my parents, they are good on a smartphone, right? I mean, we have they have iPhones now, so my brothers and I got them phones, and we can take text and pictures and messenger. You know what I mean? I mean, they understand technology and they like doing that, but they still like talking to people on the phone. Yeah, yeah. There's some people out there that, yeah, I can believe it. Exactly. At first, no, you're right, Jay. I mean, people had cell phones for the longest time, but getting my parents to adopt smartphones at first was a challenge. But once they understood, what it really comes down to? It's fear of not knowing how to use the technology. Once I've got a couple brothers, I've got nieces, nephews, we got grandkids running around. So once all of those once your people start to recognize that they can interact with everyone much simpler, and you show someone how to do it, then they'll start doing it for sure. Now, Goat, I want to say that you will come across people like that, but it's probably rare. I don't even have a cell phone. I mean, there are some people that don't want to be connected for sure. I can appreciate. He probably has a much simpler life, and he probably has less stress than the rest of us. Being connected doesn't really help for sure. That's awesome, Jayon. Yeah, that's cool that you had the patience to do that. You know what I mean? Man. So, did you guys use Nextels back then? I used to. I mean, you're talking 30 years ago. You're talking about bag phone time, and like some of the first cellular one cell phones. Yeah, yeah. What I got real fortunate. I got to work for Nextel when it first came out, and we used to sell the big two-way radio, and I was going around to contractors explaining to them that little repeater and that tower that you're running your two-way radio off of, and all the little CBs and the trucks, yeah, that's going away. You're not going to be using that in a few years. You're going to be using this thing. Exactly, the walkie-talkie. I tell you what, though, that direct connect, the two-way, it was the best thing ever. It was immediate. You could just, and what was nice about, because it was one-way communication, it was effective and efficient. You could get more done using that two-way radio than you ever get done on a phone call or a text message these days. I kind of miss the old push to talk. Mm. Yeah, yeah. You had to learn how to turn the volume down. Yeah, those stuck. Yeah, they would pull your pants down, right? If you tried putting it on your hip. It's crazy what technology, has come up with. Mm. Yep. I hear you, goat. I can relate to that in some. I like some older things. I definitely like older house construction, and I definitely like older vehicles. So I can relate to some of that. But at the same time, I do like some of the modern conveniences. I mean, I love high-speed internet. I gotta say, and I like being able to pick. I like YouTube. How I can just listen to any music or watch any video at any time. To me, that's pretty amazing. But I kind of do. Yeah, so I was a huge Ford person for most of my life. I like the Mustang, I like the F-150, the F-350, I like the Bronco. I just always liked Ford for some reason. I've never owned. I mean, I've owned. I have Ford, Toyota, and Mercedes. I have a Mercedes Sprinter that I like a lot, and then I've had like the Toyota 4Runner. But otherwise, everything I owned was pretty much Ford. Yeah, but I'll say this: those new if you're trying to get yourself one of these vans that you can walk in, I don't know, man. There's a lot of negatives around the Dodge and the Fords, the way they're built. American car companies, like, they build these things so that they just get thrown away. So it just they're just short term. Today it's like you buy it, that vehicle is just not gonna last. You're gonna be throwing it away before you do anything. Mhm. But it's a good way to start a fight, right? To start telling everybody what brand truck you like. Yeah. Mhm. All right. Well, I don't have much else on my agenda. You guys, unless you have any questions, what do you got? Have you seen Mercedes? Yeah, I mean, if I've seen the news, yeah. Goat. I mean, I've seen the all-wheel drive Sprinters. Uh, I don't know if that's what you're referring to when you talk about Mercedes. I will say this. So I have my Sprinter is a little bit older, but it's phenomenal. The way it's engineered and built. Yes, parts cost a little bit of money, and it's challenging because I can't take it to the average mechanic. They don't understand how to repair it. So at times that's frustrating, but man, those things are just built so amazingly well. If you take care of them, for the most part, they do really well. I and Jay Allen, yeah, the Titan diesel, nice, extreme. I don't know if I've seen many of the extreme models. I have to pay more attention. I'd like to check that out. Yeah, does he do the van life, goat? Did he turn his did he build it? Does he have one that you can walk in, and he converted it to like it's the a camp van life camping. the XD. Let me take a peek. So Jay Allen, I had an F-150 that I loved. I was driving it and I got T-boned right in an intersection. A guy ran a red light. He was driving an E350. He was a tile guy, and he had so he's driving an E350 van. He had it loaded with at least 2 to 3,000 pounds of tile and mortar, and he ran this red light and ran right into the engine compartment. Just missed the front door where I was sitting. Totaled my F-150. I ended up tearing ligaments and tendons because of the way I was holding on to the steering wheel. I got hit so hard. And I was so frustrated because it was an older vehicle. The insurance wouldn't give me much money. So for a while there, I went and bought the Nissan Frontier. And that thing was fucking awesome. I bought I would have liked the diesel version of it. I don't know if they make a diesel of the Frontier, but I got the 4x4 off road. It was a nice little 4-door, had a sunroof, leather seats. It was awesome. So the Titan, I could see. I bet that Nissan is that Extreme Diesel is probably awesome. Nissan makes a really good. I didn't keep that truck that long. I had it a couple years, but I never had a problem with it. I didn't. I don't think I had to do a single thing to it, other than oil changes. It's not like the best work truck, but it was good for getting around town. You know. The Titan XD is that? Hey, Jayon, is the Titan XD is that the equivalent of like an F-250 or an F-150 or the baby Duramax? So it's in between. Okay. Can you tow with that Titan? Would you be able to tow like a Mini X around if you needed to? I don't know if you have the trailer package or not, but is the vehicle capable? Okay, so you should be able to tow a Mini X then if you had to. Like if you had to rent one for a job or something. Okay, so you pull the camper. All right, very good. Yeah. I mean, I tell you, it's one of the reasons why I got that Sprinter was the diesel. I mean, they work under load so much better. My F-350 was diesel, and I mean, it didn't go fast, but it could pull a house. So, yeah, yeah. You might out where you are. Go. I bet you could still find. I mean, it's such dry air where you are. I bet there's a lot of old trucks still running real strong. What brand is your pickup truck? The one you just got the tailgate wrapped. I think you have a black. I think it was a black pickup truck. So it's a Ford. Okay. Nice. Yep, 6.7. I got you. Yeah. Yeah, that's a real that's a probably an excellent vehicle for what you're doing. I mean, it has a lot of versatility. So that's nice. Okay. 6.9 liter. Nice. I tell you, 1,000 horsepower. That's a lot. Sometimes I don't know if I want all that power. You can get you into trouble. I found that I would usually put like 35-inch tires on both of those Fords, the F-150, the F-350, and that helps slow them down just a little bit, right? You tend to drive it just a little bit slower when you got all that extra weight. Yeah. Uh, Already talking about the delete. I hear you. Yeah, that was another reason why I went with that older Mercedes. I didn't want the have to deal with the def. So I specifically went and found a used one that was a little bit older. It didn't have to deal with any def fluid. I don't know. The problem is, you're nowadays. There's some features on the newer ones I really like, but then I have to deal with the def fluid. Yeah. Well, that and yeah, I'd have to register. It's funny, the state I'm in, we've got like strict emission laws, so you end up having to register it out of state, which isn't a big deal. But now I'm with you. Yeah. All right. Well, that's good to know. Maybe we keep an open mind. Okay. Yeah, like right now, I've registered my one truck out of South Dakota just because it's much easier than dealing with all the issues that I have to deal with in my home state with like work vehicles. So yeah, yeah. No, sometimes it makes sense. You got to outsmart the system if you can. Okay. Yeah. So you know all about the South Dakota. Yeah. You just set up a PO box. Yeah. All good things. All right, fellas. Okay, nice. Yeah, I've seen a couple pictures. It looks like you have fun when you get out on the weekend on that bike. So I don't have I got a street. I have a like a Harley. I don't have a dirt bike. Uh, I'd like to. I don't have the terrain that you have around you for one. Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, man. I don't know what you guys' experience is like driving around town. My Jeep and my Sprinter, well, my Sprinter especially, I sit high up, so I can see down into people's vehicles, at most vehicles. And the average person, like, so we have a highway. It circles our city. I'm on it all the time. And the amount of people that are not watching what they're doing, they have their phone in their hand and they're texting while they're driving. Like it really, I have used my motorcycle less in the last 2 years than ever. And I have to work through this. Part of it is I'm getting a little bit older and I think I'm allowing fear to creep in a little bit more. But part of me is like, man, when I'm driving, the amount of people that I see that are distracted, and I'm like, it ain't worth it. Like, I don't stand a chance these days. Yeah. I mean, it's just like we have an it's a real problem. The amount of people that are not putting their in my state, most of the counties, you're by law, you're supposed to have the phone on a holder. It's a hands free. You're not allowed to be putting it in your hand. But what people do is they put it in their lap, right? You see this, and they're driving like this, and they'll never even see you. They'll run you over, you'll be dead, and they won't even know what happened if you're on a motorcycle these days. It's you just can't be around near anybody, I guess is the way to say it. So, but it's still fun to get out. I've got some back road, like country roads I can get out on, and that's a lot more enjoyable. But being on our highway or freeway, and it's nerve wracking. Exactly, Jeff. No, you're absolutely right. You have to just get out on like a single lane road, where there's just like some stop signs. Yeah, and just for me, I like getting out on the bike because it like I finds it helps me clear my mind too because I don't put the phone up. That's in the saddle, and I've got hard bags on my bike, so I just everything gets tucked away, and you just focus on the experience of riding the bike. So okay. Yeah, it's good to have something to get your mind off of life, right? Or the stress. Yeah, I believe it. Throttle therapy. That's a good way to put it. Mm, mm, yes, mm. Oh, it's good that you're back, Goat. Hey, listen, I know. Hey, man, everybody's got life ha- life is busy. Life has challenges. There's always stuff happening. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's good to you make sure. Listen, go. This would be my suggestion to you, and please hear me. And I say this with like out from here. Being an entrepreneur, trying to run your own business, it is challenging. All right, it's not for the faint of heart. You know that, and it's good to get around other people so that you can boost your that spirit sometimes, especially when life's like beating you up. You know what I mean? That's all. It don't just try not to isolate yourself. Get around some other people, and build get around a good group of people, and try to stay plugged in. Right? You know that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully when you get plugged in, if you can jump on a call, hopefully you end up walking away getting like a little charged up and saying, all right, this is cool. Like it ain't so bad. I got some ideas now. Or you know what I mean? You walk away going, I can do this. Yeah. Thanks for the what it's a donut. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yep. So all right. Well, let's you guys have been great. I appreciate you hopping on, and thanks for letting me get through some of that training. Um, I think I mentioned to you guys next week that extra rebel call, the one I'm doing, that some of the stuff I talked about tonight, I'll condense it down again, but that's some of the stuff I'll share with you. And I'll have some slides, and I'll give you guys like a PDF so you have something to take away from it. Okay. It'll be a different format than like this. I'll share my screen and you can, I've already made like nice presentation slides. So, yeah, yeah. All right. Very good. All right. Well, Goat, awesome. Hey, listen, Goat, if there's any topic that you want some clarity on, if there's something that you come across, and you can always shoot me a message or reach out and I can make you a short video. All right. So appreciate you guys. Jayon, thanks for being here. Goat, good to see you again. And we'll catch up. And yeah, please reach out at any time. All right. I mean, sure, sometimes I might not see the message for a couple hours, but I will see it. All right. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good night.